here. I'd like to welcome everyone to the annual town meeting and start the meeting by asking for nominations for moderator.
I nominate Scott Cady.
Scott Cady. Scott Cady is here. I'll second that. Are there any other nominations for moderator? Hearing none, is there a motion to close nominations for moderator? Is there a second to close the nominations? All in favor of closing nominations, say aye. 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 All those in favor of Scott Cady as moderator, say aye. Any opposed? Unanimous? Thank you, Scott.
Thank you very much. Always a pleasure. So, we begin all of these meetings with having the town clerk read the call and review the town meeting voting qualifications.
Electors and citizens qualified to vote at town meetings of the town of Cornwall are hereby notified and warned that the annual town meeting will be held on November 1st, 2024 at 7:30 p.m. at Cornwall Consolidated School for the following purposes. 1, to receive reports of the officers, boards, and commissions having reports to make. 2, to adopt the 5-year capital plan for the town of Cornwall as recommended by the Board of Finance and the Board of Selectmen. 3, upon recommendation of the Board of Selectmen, to adopt an ordinance to change the Cornwall tax collector position from an elected official to an appointed position. Text available at the town clerk's office. 4, to amend the ordinance made effective April 22nd, 1973, establishment of a conservation commission to increase the number of commission members from 6 to 8. Dated and signed at Cornwall, Connecticut, 15th day of October 2024 by a majority of the Board of Selectmen. And to vote at a town meeting, you either need to be a registered voter in the town or a property owner who has shown proof of citizenship and owns property worth more than $1,000 on the most recent grad list.
Thank you, Vera. Thank you very much. So at this point, we can turn to Gordon for a review of the town report.
Sure. Thank you. Yes, this is our annual town report, which we have many copies of, and I'd like to thank Barbara Herbst, who acts as our editor. The only thing that has to legally be in here is the financial reports, which are in the back of this. And does everybody have one as we go over it? Would you, anybody like it? Does everybody not have it, town report? Yeah. So, and I'd encourage you to, there's one there for Phyllis. So again, if anybody knows someone that is interested and is not able to be here, it is they are available here at the post offices. Thank Barbara again for editing all this with the pictures. The pictures in here show great excitement in the town, and I think the whole report really is a tribute to all the people. If you go through here, starting on page 7, if you look at all the town officials and the members of the Board of Commission, it's a tribute to the many people who volunteer their time to make Cornwall what it is, to make it function well under increasingly complicated conditions. So thanks to all those people that make things happen, and for I think it's probably the best way for people to see what's happened in the last year in town. It's great to have this formal record. We can refer to it in years to come, and it sort of sets the tone for what's been going on. Starting on the front page there, that is a picture of what's been going on. That's a picture of the work that was done in West Cornwall, starting to rebuild the retaining wall there on River Road. The town was subject to several severe storms last year and had to do some infrastructure repair, which took time and quite a bit of money and did tax the town's finances somewhat. We were lucky to have significant reserves to pay for that. And it goes into our budgeting process that we now established a storm emergency reserve. This was some of the first major storms that we've had as a town that were not reimbursed by FEMA. This particular storms were fairly localized events, particularly the one in July. A year ago hit Cornwall, Goshen, and Norfolk hard, but did not do significant damage throughout the rest of the county or state, so there was no FEMA declaration for that. Previously, we had gotten some of our repairs paid for by FEMA. So again, that was something, and it's important to note that the last emergency we had was for flooding and excessive rain, and we've just announced a burn ban for extreme drought. So we are seeing extreme weather here, as there is in other parts of this, much more severe in other parts of the country, but it is playing itself out here, and sort of for the first time has a direct impact on the taxpayers and functioning of the town of Cornwall. So anyway, that's the cover. And going through here, we can see there's a nice healthy crop of young people born in town, and not all these kids actually live here, but they have parents or that are here, but there continues to be a good amount of kids being born here, and that's a welcome sign. A sad sign is on the next page, where you see there's even a bigger list of friends and residents that we said goodbye to in this year, especially last Christmas was, holiday time was pretty tough, where there's quite a few people that passed on, and going through the list, there are people that gave a lot to the community over a very long period of time, so we do note their passing. The table of contents on the next page, page 5. What I'd like to do is just go through and see if there's any questions about all these reports. Don't plan to read the report. There are some highlights in here, and if we just go by the general groupings on page 5, are there any questions about all the reports under general government, which is most of the boards and commissions? There is an update that's not covered by this report, but there has been increased activities on several different town departments. The registrar of voters have been very busy. There's more requirements now to run elections, and I'm pleased to report that over half of Cornwall voters have already voted in this current important election. So that's one area where there's more activity. There's more activity with Park and Recreation offering programs, and there's also more activity, I think, with social services, with doing social work, as there's more stress on people, and that plays itself out in more demand for social services. And just about every town department has seen increase of activity. As we've said, also the storm damage has made for more work for the highway department, and as has some of the other things like the amount of dead trees. We've just embarked on another round of tree cutting on the town roads. So in various, almost every department, as I said, has seen increase of activity or new things to do. So are there any questions on all those different reports? There are people here from various commissions and boards. Education, again, a major expenditure of effort, and taxes is for education, which has always been a big priority for the town. And so there are 5 different reports on various educational components of the town there for you to read. And I think one of the things that distinguishes the town is there's very good cooperation between all the town boards, including the Board of Education, the Selectmen, the Board of Finance, all trying to work together to move the town forward. And again, we know there are people that are moving to town to put their kids here in the school, which continues to have a good reputation. Public safety and sanitation, again, increased call volumes, especially for the Cornwall ambulance. And this year is, again, more calls for emergency services. But also, luckily, there has been an increase in volunteers. And I would say the fire department and the ambulance are fully staffed. And this weekend, we actually had 2 simultaneous calls for the ambulance, and we were able to field both calls with Cornwall crews, so that's a good sign. Any questions about public safety, sanitation? Garbage continues to be a local issue in addition to a national issue, apparently. So we are still working on a long-term solution for our municipal solid waste with our neighboring towns. Land use is another busy area in town, as are all our civic organizations. And the last thing on the next page is the financial summary. The storms also did push our reserves and our budgets, so we did end the year with a surplus, although it was smaller than past years because we had some unexpended expenditures, mostly storm-related, but not exclusively. Any comments? Barbara's here, the financial office. The chair of the Board of Finance is not here. He's on vacation, but he sends his greetings. And the Board of Finance did have a long budget season this past year, and resulted in a unanimously approved budget. Any questions on the financial statements at the end of the page? The town's financial position continues to be strong. Any comments, Barbara, or all good?
No.
We ended in the black, which we have to, but we did, which is
We
good.
didn't use as much money as we thought we were gonna.
We didn't use as much money to do things that we couldn't even anticipate to do, but we came through it in good condition. So, any other questions, any comments from the other selectmen?
Oh, it's been a busy year. Some unexpected things happened, but we're in pretty good shape.
Yeah,
Lots of events going on.
lots of events, and thank Richard for videotaping this. Again, the town report is available online on the town website for people that want to do that and want to see it. And there are some hard copies here, and they are at the transfer station and at the post offices. And town hall. If any, and basically we have an open government. If anybody has questions, we will try to get you the answers. Again, this is a good place to start when people, especially if they move to town. I think this pretty much is a good indication of the level of activity here in Cornwall. So, last chance for questions on the town report.
Seeing none. Lee, do you have a motion to make?
Yes, I make a motion to adopt the 5-year capital plan for the town of Cornwall as recommended by the Board of Finance and the Board of Selectmen.
Second.
Discussion. Any discussion about the 5-year capital plan? Questions, comments, anything?
So there are copies here, the yellow copy, you can see couple things we try to do. This is actually a state requirement for the town to have a capital plan, so that we try to plan out some of our expenditures and don't get any more surprises than are necessary. It changes from time to time. Such things as we did add the storm damage reserve so that we build up our reserves, thinking the weather may continue to be extreme. We did add some money for tree removal. We did get increased state aid for tree removal, as this is a statewide problem. We are working on our town buildings. We're undertaking a pretty big renovation of the town hall. We're going to put insulation in the town hall, probably in the spring for the first time since it was built over 120 years ago. And again, we are putting money towards things, trying to keep the infrastructure in good repair. And you will see some inflationary increases as some material increases have occurred. So that's a brief explanation. If there's any questions about these items on here, we work with the highway department, fire department, trying to come up with a reasonable balance between what we would like to have and our ability to pay for it in a fairly balanced way. Any questions, any thoughts, comments?
I have a question.
Yes.
On every section, it says highway truck replacement fund, and it's $100,000. How much does it cost to replace a truck?
Well, a new truck is costing about $250,000, and what we did last year, so that's a lot of money, so we have to save that up over several years. What the highway department noticed was that our trucks are pretty worn out when we get rid of them, at usually 15 to 20 years old. Some other towns replace theirs at a 10-year interval, so we did buy a used truck last year to lengthen the time between purchases that we pay for ours. So now we actually probably have more highway trucks than we've had in the past. So if we have a breakdown or whatever in the winter time during a storm, we actually have a better ability to respond. But we are noticing some increase in those prices, but we're trying to spread out and make our trucks last longer.
Okay, thank you.
Welcome. Good question.
Seeing and hearing none other. So the motion has been made and seconded and discussion has occurred. Are we ready to vote? All in favor of adopting the 5-year plan, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, say nay. Any abstentions? Very good, thank you, passed. Then we come to the ordinance about the tax collector position.
Yes, I make a motion to adopt an ordinance to change the tax collector position from an elected to an appointed position as written in the ordinance that was available for public scrutiny. So I make that motion.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you. Motion made and seconded to change the tax collector from elected to appointed. So again, discussion, question, comments?
So we're making this change at the suggestion of our current tax collector, Gene, who's done a great job for many years. As I said before, these jobs are getting more complicated and require more training than they did in the past, making it unlikely that there's people out there in the electorate that have this training. And we have many talented people in town. We do not, in my knowledge, have any retired tax collectors in town. So many towns have taken this step and the town did take a similar step several years ago to make our assessor, quite a few years ago, to make our assessor change the assessing job from being an elected position to being an appointed position. And most towns, I believe around here, do have a tax collector who is appointed by the Board of Selectmen. And so this would allow us, and it's also a part-time position, and there are people that do this part-time in several towns, and we would probably share the tax collector with another town, perhaps. So it seems like it makes sense. And so we've gotten to this point, and Gene is going to retire, unfortunately, at the end of this election cycle next year. So this will allow us, if we do this now, to have a year to try to get somebody lined up to take over next year.
Thank you. Any other? Yes.
I just had a question, I guess, for Gene, and that's how long have you been the tax collector?
Well, it'll be 17 years next November.
17
Wow.
years. Thank you very much for your
Yes.
service.
Let's give her a hand.
Yeah. Certainly not maybe the happiest job in town government.
Yeah, she takes all of the money.
But we do like your picture of the new tax collectors in the town report. So she's done a great job keeping the office, which John Miller was the only person I've met in Cornwall that didn't mind. He thought he should pay more taxes because he enjoyed living here so much. And there may be others.
There are some.
There are some.
And people are like happy to pay, but then there are others that, you know, kicking and screaming, they come to my door.
Kicking and screaming at your door. So that's pretty much, yeah. So, and thanks G for keeping it like a small town, friendly environment in that part of town. So
Yes,
it's
thank
great.
you. Anyone else? Hearing and seeing no other hands, questions, comments, we are ready to vote. All in favor of accepting this motion to make the tax collector position appointed, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Any abstentions? Motion passes. Very good. We turn now to the establishment of the Conservation Commission, increasing the number from 6 to 8. Gordon, do you have a comment there?
Yes, I'd like to make a motion to amend the ordinance made effective April 22nd, 1973, establishment of the Conservation Commission to increase the amount of commission members from 6 to 8. So that's my motion.
Second.
And this was, again, was requested by the Conservation Commission. We are, again, fortunate to have more people wanted to be on the Conservation Commission than we had vacancies, and we had, I think, 3 people apply for one position this year, and they each had different skill sets that would be useful to the Conservation Commission. So at the request of the Commission, we have proposed to increase the number to 8 members.
Very good. Again, any comments, any questions, any discussion whatsoever? Very tractable group of people here. Hearing and seeing no one, all in favor of this motion say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say nay. Abstentions? Motion passes. Very good, thank you so much. Then we come to the point really to have a motion for the adjourning of the meeting.
I'll make a motion to adjourn, thanking everyone for attending this institution, which is the Cornwall Town Meeting, which is actually older than the United States itself. And anyway, we all celebrate our ability to live in a democracy and take part.
Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? I won't even ask for a second. The meeting is adjourned. Thank you so very much.
Thank you. Take a copy of